I've been having a few video chats with my mate, Chris Vanderstock, aka Electric Chris. Here's the first one. Well, hello and welcome. It's my little chat with Chris. We had one the other day for Chris, and today it's sort of my turn for my YouTube channel. So if you want to go and see Chris, you just go and search for Chris Vanderstock on YouTube, and you'll see his lovely face appearing. Same as if you're on his channel watching this, then go to Grumpy Old Man with an EV, and you'll see my ugly face.
Yeah, Electric Chris will also work for searching, so either other's good.
Yes, jolly good. So yeah, we've just got a few stories today to share with you. So look, I'll just kick off if I go and share this one, which is actually appeared in The Guardian. The coalition's attack. So in case you're not in this country, we do have a general election for the federal government coming up before the end of May. It's required by law. He may be calling it very soon. We don't know. But the coalition is the Liberal and National parties together. And their leader is a guy called Peter Dutton. And I did a little video on him. Is he an idiot or a genius? A few weeks ago, I did come to the conclusion that he's a genius. But you've got to watch the video to find out why I think he's a genius. I mean, I don't like the guy, but anyway. So this is the coalition's attack on the Climate Authority. I saw a meme the other day where it was Peter Dutton going, "Don't worry, I'll help the Climate Council reach net zero." He was referring to the amount of money that was being funded to them, because he actually wants to scrap all these climate councils and climate change authority people, because I don't think he actually believes in it. And if he follows his idea of putting in all these nuclear reactors, it's going to cost the country so much money that we can't afford it. And it's going to take until 2050, and they probably still won't be up and running. Yeah. This Climate Change Authority, it's supposed to be an independent statutory body, and it was actually established 14 years ago, 2011, to provide expert advice to the Australian government on climate change policy. But of course, Peter Dutton don't want to take any notice of it at all. What do you think, Chris?
No, of course he doesn't. He's got vested interests called fossil fuel friends, like Gina and so forth. That the whole conversation around nuclear, scrapping these climate bodies, and basically ignoring the science is to keep the coal industry, the gas industry going for as long as they possibly can. And it's very disappointing. I'm looking at you on the screen. I need to look at the camera here. Hi, everybody. Anyway, yes.
Yeah. Okay. So, I mean, it actually says here, this Trumpian and genuinely dystopian approach to politics and policy development cannot be allowed to encroach any further in Australia. And I've got to say, I actually totally agree with that, because it is very Trumpian. I mean, Dutton and Trump would be like brothers in the political arena, I reckon.
Yeah.
So
it's definitely very concerning.
Yes, it is very concerning.
Yeah. And we saw today, was it today? Or just yesterday, BP has announced that it's going to be rolling back its targets, its drive for renewable projects, and essentially is saying that we'll just do more gas and we'll just do more petrol.
Yeah, well, that's what car companies are doing. No, we can't make any money doing EVs, so we'll just go back to developing petrol engines and making them, which actually means that in about 10 years, most of them will be bankrupt, in my opinion. So yeah, it's going to be an interesting time ahead over the next few months, especially seeing us here in WA on March the 8th, which is when I've got a few test drives at the Sydney Showground, Olympic Park, organised, and an interview with Elliot from China.
Very good.
Yeah, so we've got a state election coming up here. And just to add interest, I don't know if over East you've got any battery subsidies from your state governments.
I think there still is. I'll check whilst you talk. I check.
Whilst we have never had any battery subsidies in this state. I mean, we've had the usual rebate on the solar panels on your roof. But if our current Labor government, which is sort of greenish in its thoughts sometimes, they've actually gone, if we get in, you will get up to a 5,000 Australian dollar rebate if you put a battery in your house.
Wow.
And if you're outside of the Synergy area, it's $7,500. So that's in Horizon, which is out most of the state. Just our little bit here in the southwest is under Synergy. So as I said the other day, we've got a bit of a monopoly. We can choose Synergy or Synergy for our power supply company.
There's so much choice. You're so privileged to be able to have so much choice.
So yeah, we're going to get some battery subsidies as well, which will be nice because I am trying to sell my house and move. Yes, I'm going to be putting in some big batteries. So at the moment, I'm gearing up for a 24 kilowatt hour battery. I've got 13 at the moment. If $5,000 rebate, I might be able to push that to a 32 kilowatt hour battery.
Wow, that's pretty impressive. I found in Victoria, by the way, there is up to $8,800 in interest-free loans that you can take over a 4-year period. So that's pretty good. That helps out a lot of things.
That's only a loan.
Yeah,
we're getting a rebate.
Yeah, and I believe there was, but I think it's kind of been rolled into the solar scheme as well. So essentially now you can have either solar, a bit of a support with that, or a battery. You can't have both. And the Australian government has announced recently about a $30 million project in local batteries, suburban batteries. And it's kind of acknowledging the fact of, well, you know what, these solar-rich suburbs we have, they're putting too much energy into the grid, and we need to curtail that as much as we can. And how can we do that? We store it locally. Great, awesome. So bring it on. But you know what? Houses become independent generators and be available for the same service. So maybe they should be thinking a bit more micro. And but yeah, anyway, I'm going off topic, I think.
Hey, look, that's fine. So right, next, your one, Chris.
All righty, my turn, is it? All right, let me share my screen then. And I'm going to share this screen. There you go. There's Solar Victoria for you folks. We'll leave a link to the stuff that we talk about below. So if you want to go have a bit of a read, awesome, do it, share the knowledge. And it's pretty hard to justify right now batteries. They're just not worth it. But if you think big, you go if you go big, it works really well. But you've got to go with a big solar system and a big battery. And then you can jump on someone like Amber and you play the game. You have a bit of automation, and yeah, you can make some money. But to make money, you got to spend money. Lots of money at that. Now, hopefully, for some reason, I've been logged out of this. Oh, no, I'm back in. This YouTube channel is YouTube. Anyway, hopefully the quality is not too rough for you guys watching. This is a solid state battery that's going into testing right now. And in terms of watt hours per kilogram, that's basically how much energy density a battery has. This is coming at 450 watt hours per kilogram. I think it's right. Or kilo. I might be mixing up my terms at the end there, Nigel. You might be able to help me out there. It'll come to me. Anyway, if you were to throw this battery pack, the solid state battery, into this Mercedes car, you'll be able to drive from Melbourne to Sydney and beyond. It's got 1,000 kilometer range, 1,000 kilometer range because of the weight savings provided by the solid state battery. So that is mighty, mighty impressive. And for those poor suffering people out there who think they need to go from Melbourne to Sydney and beyond in, I don't know, 7 hours without stopping, because that's completely safe.
Oh, absolutely.
Very
Yeah.
safe. Yep. Imagine me being in the back there. I'll be like, pass the bottle. Anyway, it's that they'll soon be able to do this trip. Who knows? But just appreciating it's research development. It's going to testing, but at least it sounds like it's getting to the pointy end of the stick, and it might come to market sooner than later. Because already right now we're seeing in China electric cars over there that have a small solid state battery and a bigger lithium iron phosphate battery, IROM, and they've got impressive range as well. So this is really encouraging, and found this story here through Car Scoops. That's fun, Nigel. Can you rename your channel Nigel the Grumpy Car Scoop Man? No, no, no.
No.
All right.
I think they might have me for a bit of copyright if I did.
They may well. They may well. And yes, it's actually 450 watt hours per kilogram, Chris. There you go. Just to give you a bit of a benchmark, most NMC batteries are sitting in that 150 to 250 range, depends on the chemistry.
Yeah. I mean, that's twice as dense, just about.
Exactly. So if you've got like a 450 kilogram battery pack that can currently do 400 kilometers, you could do 800 kilometers quite comfortably with this new versions of technology. Technology is great.
In 3 stops.
Yeah, right. Well, this is the thing. It's like, and how much range do we need? You only need the range that you really need. You don't need to have a battery.
Well, you need the range to get from one charger to the next.
Exactly.
Okay. Yeah. So over here in WA, we've got 200 kilometers. So you need a safety buffer, let's say 50%, so 300 kilometers. So any car here with a 300 kilometer range can drive around the state, just about round all the way around the edge and then through the middle to Kalgoorlie.
Yep.
So you won't be able to go up the Northwest Highway yet, but that may be coming.
Yeah, exactly.
If our election on March the 8th goes the way of the current government, which I think it will, then
is that a good thing? Or he's saying stays with Labor or goes to the other side?
No, it'll stay with Labor.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. We'll see what happens.
Yeah. I mean, my local member is the Minister for the Environment, Reece Whitby. And I've had many a talk with him. And the last time I said, you've got to get up the Northwest Highway. And he said, let's wait until after the election. And then I read that somebody had given them a paper on putting it up the Northwest Highway. So I think they're looking at it.
Okay. Well, that's encouraging. And yeah, we need more electric vehicle chargers anyway, because there's going to be more and more EVs on our road. So bring it on. I'd love to just see cars that have appropriate size battery for the average use. And people who want to go crazy and do the, it's akin to the 4-wheel drives out there at the moment, the cab utes sort of things. They actually have an option to have a second tank, and they do the ultra long distance. They've got 1,500 kilometer range vehicles, and they're designed for outback remote situations. And go if that's you, great, do it.
Hey, I had one of those driving around the city.
Yeah, well, that's where we sometimes see them or tend to see them, right? But anyway, each to their own, each to their own. And I was joking before, don't drive for 7-8 hours without stopping, please do not do that.
And I think this is possibly where, with NIO, the Chinese company, they do battery swaps, and they've got thousands of battery swap stations across China, and they're doing up to 100,000 plus battery swaps per day. Now you can say, well, I'll just rent my 50 or 75 kilowatt hour battery for driving around town. If I need to go a bit further, I can do a battery swap and pay extra for 100 kilowatt hour, or I can pay a bit more than that and get 150 kilowatt hour battery, so I can drive to where I need to go, and then that might be empty. I can swap that out and go back to me 50 or 75 kilowatt hour battery. That would be great. And as I said, they've got 3,000 or 4,000 battery swap stations around China. So I think, honestly, I like that idea. I didn't at first, but I think that's quite a reasonable idea. But I think, was it in America, there's one EV charging stall per 16 EVs, and here in Australia it's one per 82.
Oh, really?
You don't quote me on these numbers, but it's something ridiculous in the difference. Or was it Norway is 1 in 16? Anyway, we need more chargers. I do not disagree with that.
Yeah,
we definitely need more chargers.
Definitely, for sure. All right, what do you got next on your radar there, Nige?
Well, look, I hear a lot of people going, and I only saw this on Bookface a few weeks ago. The picture of wind turbine blades in landfill taking up a lot of space, and they're not being many places are now recycling them for road fill and road base or what have you. But this, I've literally just come across this. Now, I think I did see this. It was from October 2021. This place is recycling these used wind turbine blades as, we'll scroll down, bike shelters. Now, I think that is absolutely brilliant.
I love it.
And if you stuck some solar panels on them as well,
even better.
Can charge up your electric bike there.
Damn straight. I'm actually thinking of an electric bike, by the way.
Yeah, this is in Denmark, I believe. In Denmark, they have a lot of push bikes, like in Holland and so on. I mean, this would be great.
Yeah, exactly. That's very clever thinking. What they call it, upcycling.
Yes. Recycling, upcycling, whatever you like. So these things are huge.
Yes.
Some places are using them to reinforce concrete.
Yeah. Or maybe even become parts in cars. Typically, I'm seeing it in trim and also car seats. Sometimes they're recycling PET bottles and the like. And you wouldn't know it. It actually feels very nice. So,
in those car seats, I call them leather. It's plastic leather.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
So I think this idea of recycling, it's good. I mean, you recycle batteries, either grind them up and get all the battery quality materials out of them. And I think that one company now can get 99% of the carbon out of them and 95 to 98% of the other chemicals. I mean, it's just, you're not going to waste very much there. No. And you can repurpose them as static storage. Because if you got, 72 kilowatt hour battery and it's taken out of the EV because it's dropped below 70%, I mean, that's still around 50 kilowatt hours, 45 to 50 kilowatt hours. Now, you stack a few of those up, you've got a pretty good static storage. I wouldn't mind one of those powering my whole house. 45 kilowatt hours, that'll keep me going for a day or so.
Yeah, exactly. Wow, for sure. I think a thing I'd like to see now that vehicle to grid is effectively, it's now been approved by Standards Australia as well.
Yes.
We've got policy support from government. We've got the standard now, and it's just a matter of time before I think we will see vehicles coming out with vehicle to grid as a feature. The hardware right now is a very hard sell, though.
you've got to have the charger that's capable of vehicle to grid, and
Yeah.
they've got to be approved. And I think I saw a Robbie Llewellyn interview with one guy literally this week, where he interviewed a guy who's got his vehicle to grid charger that has now been approved.
Yeah.
And we just need a few more of those.
Exactly.
And then
I
the
was,
software update in these cars.
yeah, I was watching that story and I was kind of a bit hesitant the language he was using about the repay period and, how if you're clever with it, you could do really, really well here. And I took that to read like, okay, if you're the person who's on an EV plan and charges for free from 11 till 2, then through the Amber marketplace sells your energy back to the grid when the price is really high because a coal-fired power plant has died in WA, you'll do really well. But if it's contingent upon so many things, it's kind of like it's a no from me at this moment.
Yes, and over here in WA, all you will do is lose money, because you can buy, if you're on an EV daily tariff plan with time of use between 9 p.m. and 3 p.m, it's 8 cents per kilowatt hour. And then when you go and pile it back in the afternoon, I think you get 10 cents, otherwise it's only 2.
Yeah, exactly. It's very small.
It's pathetic. You're going to make a fortune,
not exactly.
So yeah, and these vehicle to grid charging things, they're not cheap.
No, definitely not.
I think the full one in America is something like $10,000 or $12,000 American.
Yeah. And that I think the business model the guy's going with in Australia is over in South Australia. They're proposing that you actually lease it from them at a cost of effectively, I think it was $400 a month or something like that. So that's pretty steep. Yes,
that's steep.
That's very steep.
Nearly $5,000 a year.
Yeah, exactly.
So, if it's 10 grand or 15 grand, well, you can buy it and it's paid off in.
Yeah, I think they're looking at commercial businesses, and if you've got effectively a big battery, aka bus or truck, that's doing nothing for a third of its day because of it needs a driver. Maybe that's what you'll do. You'll sell market into the you'll sell energy into the marketplace during peak demand, and you'll make some money. I think that's probably who he's going for here.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So there you go. All right. Can I hijack the screen now, Nigel?
You can hijack the screen by all means. I give you permission, Chris.
Thank you. All right. So don't get excited just yet because I'm not officially out. But thanks to Nirav Bhatt, who's a very prolific journalist who I see on the socials quite a lot. Hello. He's dropped this awesome story about the ID4 Pro. Now, first up, okay, the ID family is not yet in Australia. Yes, there's a bit of a worry about everything around VW and electric right now. Reviews are never that favorable, unfortunately, and ownership stories are very problematic and concerning. That said, we'll stay positive. We'll stay positive. And
I'm positive there's shit. Oh.
Yeah, no, I did not say that. I don't know where that came from. Anyway, the VW Australia has announced it's actually going to be bringing out in the ID lineup. So there's going to be ID3 and ID4 very soon in Australia, supposedly. The Pro model that gives you a little bump in range. It's about 30 or 40 extra kilometers of range. It's actually in the story somewhere here. So for those people who want a true 500-kilometer car, so like this last week I was in the Polestar 4, and that's got a massive battery. It's a 100 kilowatt hour battery. Very heavy vehicle, but somehow it doesn't take too much of a penalty. Like the actual efficiency of it was running about 19 kilowatt hours per 100k, despite being so damn heavy. So it was absolutely a true 500 kilometer battery. Anyway, if you're the type of person who's very good and just is ever so gentle on the accelerator, and it's just takes everything chill, maximum regen, doesn't go maybe above 80 k's per hour, does a lot of urban driving, stop-start driving, you would probably get 554, oh my gosh, 544 kilometers if I can spit the number out correctly. that's great. Just VW, if you're watching, when are they coming out? You've been promising them for the last 18 months.
Is that price the 59,990 American dollars?
No, it's Australian.
That's Australian dollars.
That's Australian. That's VW Australia pricing. And that'd be
right.
before
Yes,
on-road
it is.
costs. That'd be about 64K, but that's all right. Well, 65K for you WA people who pays more for everything. But we won't go into that sensitive subject.
Let's shut up.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, there you go. So 60 to 120 kilometers more compared to the other ID cars. That's quite a big bump, isn't it?
It's got a bigger battery.
Yeah. So there you go. Anyway, but still, you can read if you go to VW website right now. I think even God last year we're talking about this night. You can register your interest.
Yes,
like
when I was recently in, geez, I've been to so many places. I think it was something like Reykjavik in Iceland or what have you. I was walking around and I walked past a VW showroom and I saw the ID Buzz parked outside. So I went and had a look. And because I used to have the VW Combi bus back in the 60s.
Oh, you're showing your age, Nigel.
Well, I was born in the very early 50s. So, yeah.
Yep.
Years old now. So I used to love that Combi bus. It was a great car. It accelerated from 0 to 60 miles an hour in a week. It was brilliant. And I thought, an electric Combi, the ID Buzz, would be great. And I went and looked at it, and it was the equivalent of over $100,000 Australian.
Wow.
And, well, as I said, VW, it was horrible.
Was it?
I was very disappointed, to say the least.
Okay.
They didn't have an ID4, I don't think. But they did have a Skoda electric, and that was much more nicer.
Okay, cool. Well, we're probably getting ahead of ourselves here, but the ID4 Pro and the ID5 GTX will actually be available to gawk at, kick the tires, poke and prod around at the Everything Electric event in Sydney, March 7 through 9. Promo at the end. Okay.
Yeah, promo's coming. Yes.
Yeah. All right. What have you got for us, Nigel?
Okie dokie. Well, this is just the last thing that I've got. So here we have something on the Renew Economy website where, Dutton wants to do nuclear, but we've already producing more wind and solar power than half a dozen nuclear reactors. And that's just in the last 10 years. But here, this is main grid in the state of Queensland.
Yeah.
Has had a new maximum instantaneous.
So that's the amount of energy all at one time
of 7,643.3 megawatts, which is 7.64 gigawatts.
Yeah. So basically,
not quite the 21 point whatever gigawatts you need to get the DeLorean to travel in time.
Well done for that reference. I love that. That's very good. But just as reference point, by the way, a very big power station in Australia is up to 2.5 to 3.5 gigawatts. So you're basically talking about two very, very large equivalent, power plants. And depreciating it, yes, it's a moment in time because it's solar, but we've got a lot of land, we've got a lot of sun, we've got a lot of wind, we've got a lot of waves. We've got
a lot of spare land in the middle.
Yeah, we can do this. We can do this.
Yes. So this looks blurry, but don't worry, it looks blurry on the website as well.
I need my glasses checked.
This is the weekly interval summary. All right, of solar. Now the that is going up to nearly 8,000. That's 7,500 there, and that is just under 3,000, I think. Look, this is just incredible. The amount of power that we can now make from solar and wind. I mean, there's an offshore wind farm that's being touted, and Dutton has already said if he gets in, he's shutting it down.
Oh my goodness. Why would he do that?
Because he's an idiot. He's a genius, but he's an idiot.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you just look at these solar farms, Wellington North in New South Wales, 330 megawatts. It's just phenomenal how well we're going with solar. Because we've got a lot of it, and people go, doesn't shine at night. No, but that's what we have batteries for. Exactly. And one of the things in this article was wind power. It's better in the evening. The wind is strongest during the evening and early night.
Yeah, tell me about it. I live in a very windy area here, and I can attest to that.
Yes. I mean, over here in WA, Geraldton is something like the third windiest city in the world. Okay. And that's where we built our first land-based wind farm. No, sorry, that was Albany, but Geraldton was a big wind farm. So, yeah, you just stick the wind farms where it's windy. Yeah. And you stick solar panels when it's sunny, which is just basically most of bloody Australia. Yep.
Ah, well, hey, I want to share this because I'm excited by this, and I'll here's an introduction for you. What's the biggest pet peeve at Christmas, New Year time if you ever are the person who wants to commute interstate? Can you answer that one for me, Nigel?
Or like the cost of the flights?
No, you got to drive. You got to drive. You're an electric vehicle lover of all things driving and autopilot and EAP.
Doing it. Charges.
So
Tesla have brought in.
Yes, right. Now this is about a week old news, and it's for America, as I understand it, because I haven't seen any change in my app. But mind you, I haven't charged a supercharger for a good year. But it does happen in Australia, typically on the Hume Highway, and I welcome this. This is very good. I have never had an issue myself. I've come close where it was kind of like, we both arrived at the same time. There was no charging bays available. And the guy was like, I'm just going to be really quick. I just need to just do a quick top up so I can get home, 5 minutes and I'm gone. So I said, great, you go for it because I need a coffee and I need a longer break. So we negotiated that. That was awesome. But yeah, this is going to be very welcome. And I think it's going to be a good equalizer because obviously now, for the most part, well, not the most part, a majority, is that still the most part? It is, isn't it, Nigel? Anyway, the supercharger network is open and available to others who don't have Teslas. They pay a higher premium for that, by the way, but nonetheless, brand loyalty is a thing. You've purchased a car from Tesla, so you would hope maybe this will have a priority system. Maybe not. In Australia, we're about egalitarian and being fair.
Honestly, I think it's going to be on first come, first served basis.
Very likely.
That would be the fairest one. But also, if you try and push in, I have heard that it might not let you charge. You can plug it in, it'll go, nope, you weren't next. Bugger off.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, that would be great if it did that.
I want to see this in action.
Yeah.
I want to see this in action. In fact, you know what? I'm going to stop sharing my screen. I'm going to have a quick little stalk around YouTube to see if I can find anything. But very likely, what happens on YouTube, people make videos pretending that it's actually a thing when in fact it's not.
Yes. So look, I mean, I think it's a great idea. Once in the last 5.5 years of owning a Tesla, have I turned up at a 6-stall Tesla supercharger and there were 6 cars parked there charging and 2 waiting. Now, I only called in there because I could get a coffee and a loo break because I needed it. I had enough charge to get well past my destination, but I thought I'll just top up while no, I won't be topping up here. So I just parked and went in, ordered a coffee, had my loo break, walked out with my takeaway coffee, jumped in the car and just drove off. And one of those cars had moved and one was in there, so there was only one in front. So yeah, look, it would have been nice if I'd have gone, let's get to that charger and have a lineup. But
Mhm.
otherwise, yeah, like you, I don't supercharge very often. I have over the last month or two used the WA EV network with the fast DC chargers
Yep.
quite a bit, because I've been from where I live south of Perth into Perth and down to Kalgoorlie. It's
Mm.
about a 700-kilometre drive almost. So I've used the DC fast chargers going there and back for the last couple of times. I've got to do it one more time
Right here.
after I get back from Sydney.
Cool. Oh, well, that's a great segue there, Nige.
I thought you'd pick up on that.
Oh,
So look,
d-
the 7th, 8th, 9th, there is the Everything Electric show in Sydney.
woohoo.
And oh, well done, Chris, you had it there. And look, this is the third one, and it's the third one that both Chris and I have been to. It's absolutely wonderful. If you want to book a test drive, yeah, they're all full. I've just managed to book 2 test drives, and I'll
Wow.
try and get some more when I get there if I can.
Yeah.
But it's just a phenomenal weekend. So if you want, you can use the code to get a 25% discount, EEAU25.
Awesome. EE. So what, 25%? What's that code now, Nigel?
EEAU25. And if you can't remember it,
Woohoo.
Everything Electric Australia and
Ah,
25% discount.
very good. Very good.
Yes. Now, whilst you're there, if I can just share
Yeah.
my screen,
All right, go for it. I'll stop sharing
which means
mine.
you've got to get out. Yes. What if you do attend? This young fella here called Chris is going to be on a panel discussing how to combat FUD.
Hmm.
And literally, as we joined here on our meeting, I saw a link in Bookface. Yeah. And scroll down and look at that. I mean,
Dearie me.
oh, but Chris will tell us all if you watch his video, which I'll be putting up on my channel soon.
We'll link it down below. We'll
Yeah,
link it.
link it down below or
Yeah.
something.
Yeah.
How to combat FUD. And he'll be talking at the EEAU25 discount code place in Sydney.
Yes.
So if you've got any interest in electric vehicles, which you probably have if you're watching these videos, you know, just an idea, it's
Yeah.
really worthwhile going.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. And
It's brilliant.
yeah, just one of the main takeaways for the people out there who are doing all a very good job of helping to increase the adoption of electric vehicles. And in turn, that means we're cleaning up our air. We're relying less and less on fossil fuels. We're keeping money in Australia by actually using the energy that we make in Australia. There's so many benefits of going electric, right? Anyway, if you're one of those people, awesome, love you, keep going. But when it comes to electric vehicle myths, just my top tip is this: don't talk about them. Do not talk about them. So yeah, watch the video to find out how, because I think we all know the EV myths, and the video that we've just done is about actually how to have that conversation and how to turn the tide. Okay, so yeah, check it out.
Yes. And don't slap them around the head as much as you want to.
You sure about that? There's nothing to say. Possible.
You didn't actually cover slapping them around the head or punching them in the face.
I'll put a slide in for that one.
You got a slide for it, have you? Is that anger management slides?
Yeah, exactly. Take a breath in and
then slap them. Yes. Excellent. Oh, look, that's great, Chris. Thanks so much. So don't forget EEAU25 for a 25% discount at the Everything Electric Australia show in Sydney. It's at the Sydney Olympic Park.
Yep.
Yes. And then it's also coming again in November to Melbourne. in November sometime. I forget the exact dates. Look
I
it
don't
up,
have to
people.
travel. I don't have to travel.
You don't have to. I've still got a bloody travel, but I'll come and see you.
Yeah, okay, cool.
Right. Well, thanks very much, Chris. That was great. And I'll be seeing you next week
Yes.
in person.
In person.
Yes.
In the flesh.
Jolly
All
good.
right. Well, thanks, Nigel. Take care, mate.
Thanks. See ya. Bye. There you go. Hope you enjoyed that. Now, don't forget, Electric Chris, you can search for him on YouTube. He's got an excellent channel. And while you're at it, don't forget, click that like and subscribe button below. Thank you so much. It really does help. And also have a look on the description section. There's my Ko-fi page. And I post a couple of videos up there that are just for the people that look at Ko-fi. And if you want to help me out there, that would be really nice. Thank you so much. And I'll see you all very soon.